Welcome back to Bleacher Brawls. My name is Derek. I'm here with John. Uh, the offseason's just around the corner. The Yankees season didn't end the way they wanted it to, obviously. We had a video covering that Yankees end to the postseason, but we're gonna move on to the offseason, turn the page, and jump into this offseason. The Yankees have a lot of things they need to cover: free agents, front office, the manager, some needs that they have. There's a bunch of stuff. We're gonna kind of give you everyone a brief overview of what's expected to happen for this Yankees offseason. What do they need? What could happen? And what does John want to happen? As he is the Yankees fan here. So I think it's a great way. Let's just dive straight into this. This is your Yankees offseason preview. First things first, let's talk about the Yankees free agents. They really only have three main ones. We're not going to cover the kind of guys a little bit deeper into the roster. Their three main free agents are Aaron Judge, Anthony Rizzo, and Jameson Taillon. Those are the main three guys at Chapman Britton. Probably not coming back. And even they didn't play a massive part in the 2022 team. So I want to go to John first. Let's talk about the big name, the big fish of this year's free agency, Aaron Judge. Obviously, we don't know, Yankees fans like yourself are gonna obviously you want him to stay. But what do you think about Judge? What do you think he's gonna get in free agency? All that kind of stuff.
Well, Derek, I think I'm prepping myself, embracing myself for the worst case scenario because I just keep thinking like, okay, he's probably gone. Like, just get ready for it. He's gone. He's not staying. Um, so like that's like kind of my thought process going into this. Just prepare for the worst and hope for the best. So that being said, I mean, I obviously you nailed it. I want Aaron Judge to stay Yankee, just a career Yankee. I don't care how many years it takes because I just want him to stay as a Yankee. And I don't ever want to see him hit free agency again. We saw how ugly things got with Derek Jeter when he hit free agency at the end of his career. Even though he didn't want to go anywhere, it still got a little nasty between him and Brian Cashman in the front office. You don't want to see that with Aaron Judge. Just give him the years. So that's being said, now the years. I don't know. I think it sounds like the Giants really are in on him. Do they give him 9 years? Do they give him? I know the Yankees offered 8 originally at the beginning of the season. Do the Giants go 9 or even 10? What do you think? What are your thoughts? I'd love to know what you think. How deep? How far? To what? How deep? Where are the Giants taking it? I can't speak tonight. Like, do you think Giants go 9, 10 years to get Aaron Judge?
I don't necessarily know about years, but I've heard a couple things of Giants of people saying like, hey, like the Giants don't want to be outbid by anyone on Aaron Judge. Like, and they have the payroll available to go out and try and outbid everyone. Will they outbid everyone? Obviously, that's to be seen. But I think the Giants are going to be legitimate players in the Aaron Judge sweepstakes, and they had tweeted out almost a month ago now. I said like Aaron Judge has like a 90% chance of starting opening day at Yankee Stadium because the Giants
Yeah.
are playing the Yankees at Yankee Stadium.
Yes.
But but no, I feel like those two main teams. Now, the one team you do have to watch out for is the Dodgers because there's been some rumors the Dodgers might look to target Aaron Judge and move Mookie Betts into second base. So the Dodgers are another team to look out for because the Dodgers get bidding in there. We know the Dodgers have more money than they need, so like they can throw a bunch of money at Aaron Judge. They don't worry about they don't care about the luxury tax. And they might lose Trey Turner if they go after Aaron Judge, but maybe they feel that they might lose Trey Turner anyways. Who knows how they're going to attack free agency. But they can always move Gavin Lux to shortstop too. So there's a bunch of options for Judge. Now there's a couple teams that are long shots for sure, but have the money. Like I know the Cubs have money freeing up. They're not going to do it. I would doubt it, but like like the Red Sox, they're an option. Do I think it's
The
going to
Yankees would
happen?
never let that happen. The
Well,
Yankees
I'm
would.
saying, like, do I think it's going to happen? No chance,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think. Also, too, I don't think the Red Sox would. The only reason the Red Sox would be there is to drive the price up for the Yankees. I don't think they
Right.
would. Like, I think that's the only reason they're going to even put their name in the hat is like, let's drive up the price. If the Yankees going to get them, let's make them pay a little bit more. Because at the end of the day, I think if it's between the Yankees and the Red Sox for Judge, he'll go to the Yankees and say, "Hey, they're offering me this. Can you match it?" And I think the Yankees would because it's one thing to lose Aaron Judge, one thing to lose him to the Red Sox if you're the Yankees. But personally, I think it's more likely than not he stays. I'd give it a greater than 50% chance he stays. I'm not gonna put an actual number on it because I'm not like a mathematician here, but like I said, more likely than not he stays. But you got to watch out for the Giants, and if the Dodgers make a run at him, you got to watch out for them too.
And that's I'd love to piggyback off of that. That's the thing. Both those are desperate teams. The Dodgers are very desperate because like yes, they won the World Series in 2020,
but everyone just says it's the COVID season.
Right, exactly. And so really the Dodgers in most people's minds haven't won a real World Series since 1988. I think they're a desperate team that really wants to win, and like they're supposedly the best run team in baseball, but they only have that 2020 World Series to show for it. That scares me, like with knowing that they're in on it because they have the money to spend and they have a reason to spend it. And Aaron Judge being from California, I know Northern California, which he's a Giants fan growing up. Does he want to go back home? That's a possibility, even if it's close. I mean, as much as he loves New York, would he rather go back home? I believe his wife is his high school sweetheart, so I'm assuming she's from the area too, or maybe college sweetheart. I don't know, but I would assume she's from Northern California too. Does she want to go home? I would think if whatever, like you said, the Red Sox, if they offered something, Judge could take it back to the Yankees. I think whatever the Dodgers offer, Judge would take it back to the Yankees. What gets scary with the Giants is if he really wants to be there, he just might sign. He might not take it back to the Yankees. They might not get a chance to match. So that's what's, there's a lot going into this. Like, and that's what I said. I'm bracing myself for the worst. And just a quick side note, obviously diehard Yankees fan, like number one, the very distant number two team that I have though has always been the Giants. There's a whole backstory to that. So that would actually just be a real kick, like in the testicular area if he signed with the Giants. But
it's like for me, I'm a Red Sox fan, but the Diamondbacks are like my secondary team.
Yes, I know that.
Giants are your secondary team. Wearing Diamondbacks hat. I don't want to wear a Red Sox hat on a Yankees video.
I actually had a Giants long sleeve shirt, but I was wearing today, but I did not have it with me. Otherwise, I'd just hold it up right now.
Yeah, no, I do think that like we it's like Judge's free agency. Like there's only so many teams. I mean, also the Mets are another option because they have money, but I've said this off camera to some people. Like I'm like the Mets have other things they got to figure out. They have their own guys they got to figure out before worrying about a guy like Judge. So I don't see that happening either. Now let's move on to Anthony Rizzo, right? It's officially a free agent after opting out. The Yankees could still put a qualifying offer on him. We know they're going to put it on Judge. They did put it on him.
They did do it today, yeah. Not that long ago before we're recording this. But yes, they did. I did see that he got the QO.
So Rizzo qualifying offer. It's going to definitely lessen his market. I would think it kind of paves the way for him to return to the Yankees. Only thing I think it would be improved terms. I think even without a QO, it'd be more likely that he returns to the Yankees. I just think it's going to be on improved terms. The only way I would see him not going to the Yankees is if he went back to Chicago. That's the only way I see it. And I don't think that's likely. I don't really think Chicago has an open spot for him.
Yeah, I don't see him going back to Chicago either. Like you said, like they have money freeing up, but they don't have the need to spend it right now. They're not ready to compete. Signing, even if they did sign both Anthony Rizzo and Aaron Judge together, that's not going to put them over the hump. So I don't see. Yeah, I don't. You're right. Like it could happen, but I don't think it will. With Rizzo, it's like I don't know how much the Yankees need him, which is kind of what makes me think he might not be back. And he was a great locker room. He's great in the locker room, had a couple clutch home runs. I like him as a player. I really do. I just think realistically, the Yankees, depending what happens with that infield, which I know is going to be a conversation for another day. But if things kind of stay the way they are, you would think Donaldson at third, Kiner-Falefa at short, Torres at second, and then you put LeMahieu at first, and then because there was such a logjam this year that it didn't really seem to work out. Now, I mean, I don't think that's going to be how it actually plays out with the Yankees, but I think that because they have the option, there's not like a pressing need to sign Anthony Rizzo, so I don't think he gets signed. And like you said, the qualifying offer is going to really lessen his market because very few teams are going to want to give that draft pick to the Yankees. That being said, he might not sign till June till that qualifying offer comes off. We've seen it happen with other players in the past.
Kimbrel.
I mean, what teams are really dying to sign Anthony Rizzo? Like, I do
It
believe,
only team would be a contending team who needs a first baseman. Which
right?
how many are there?
Exactly,
Maybe the
and
Astros with Gurriel not becoming a free agent.
right, and
Like
exactly. It's like it would be maybe where someone gets hurt going to spring training, maybe he gets signed. But I think that qualifying offer is going to hurt him. And maybe because of that, shoot, maybe he accepts that qualifying offer from the Yankees. He had a 2-year deal anyway, so he came in with the potential of staying here for 2 years. And if he accepts the qualifying offer, that's actually like a $3 million raise or something along
yeah,
those lines. It wouldn't be a bad deal for him just to accept it.
yeah, exactly. And I think I'd put like a 90% chance of him staying with the Yankees just because I think at the end of the day he'll just accept the qualifying offer. Um, Now maybe he doesn't. Maybe he tests his market, but his market's not going to be that strong. So I think he's just going to accept the qualifying offer. At least that's what I would do if I was him. Unless he just hates New York and doesn't want to play there, but it doesn't seem like that. Next
Okay. He
last free agent
clearly
we're
loves
gonna
New York.
yeah last free agent we're gonna talk about is Jameson Tyone. Solid mid rotation guy. Obviously, he's not going to be your ace, but he's a solid rotation piece. Had a solid year. Not amazing, but he's definitely good enough to be in your rotation. What are your thoughts on Tyone? Does he return to the Yankees? I know Tyone could potentially be a guy where a lot of teams look into him because he's one of those guys in the middle of the rotation that is a solid piece, could be a 3 or 4 starter depending on the team. Like I've named him as a guy, like I've looked at him like maybe the Red Sox want to take a look at him. They need some rotation help. What do you think about Tyone?
So I know you and me have talked about this in previous videos. We're both fans of him and his stuff. I think he's got a really good mental makeup. He showed me that too. As the season wore on, he struggled midway through the season, but he didn't let it get to him where a lot of guys will implode and just the rest of the season they'll just bomb. But he worked through it and actually got better as the season went on. I like Tyone. Again, like you said, 3-4 starter in that Yankee rotation. I hope they keep him. It seems like the Yankees like him too. So I think there's a good chance they work out a deal. I think he's happy there. He's really good tight with Garrett Cole. So there's a lot of things working where it seems like a Yankees reunion makes sense with him.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's going to be teams though out there that are going to want to take a look at him. So if the Yankees want to get this done, I suggest they get it done quick and don't give anyone else a chance to get in there and try to woo him away or throw out big money. I think the Yankees try. If Tyone wants to stay in New York, seems like he does. It seems like he's happy there. Lock him up now. Just get it done as quickly as possible. Oh, and one more point. When I did not mention that, I was thinking. Another reason I like Tyone, ground ball pitcher, which plays really well in New York. As a right-handed pitcher, you're going to give up a lot of home runs in New York. The fact that he can keep the ball down, get hitters to drive the ball into the ground and be a ground ball pitcher in New York, it makes sense for the Yankees to really make sure they keep him. So what's the deal with Tyone? Maybe 20 million for 4 years, with a team option for a fifth even to really sweeten it.
I think a little bit less than that.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I mean, maybe it's like between 16 or 17. I know Severino just the option they picked up was 15, so maybe that's comparable. But the Yankees might have to spend a little bit more. If they don't get it done quickly, they're going to have to spend more to keep him because there's going to, like you said, other suitors are going to be out there.
Oh yeah, 100%. I kind of my only question with him staying with the Yankees is Pablo Lopez because the Yankees were in talks with the Marlins. Gleyber Torres was going to potentially be part of the deal had the deal happened. They didn't get necessarily super close to a deal. And I know the Yankees ended up getting Frankie Montas, but you look at rotation potentially if they think that they could flip Torres plus a prospect or two and get Pablo Lopez, and they're willing to do that. And you have a rotation of Cole, Severino, Montas, Pablo Lopez, and Nestor Cortez. Like that's an outrageous rotation. And Tyone, if he does come back to the Yankees, like he's a number 5. He's the number 5 starter. Like we're talking about him like a number 3, number 4 starter. And that Yankees rotation, he is the number 5 starter.
Oh yeah, exactly. In that scenario, you absolutely be a 5 starter. Maybe I would still just because I haven't seen Frankie Montas pitch as a Yankee really. Maybe I put Tyone above him, but I mean, yeah, like you said, he's going to be more of a for the Yankees. He's more of a luxury, and maybe they don't want to spend the money it takes or invest the years it's going to take to keep him. No,
Yeah, they could be better off getting someone who's a little bit cheaper, who isn't going to ask for a 3 or 4 year deal.
Yeah, that it's all on the table for them. So again, I just personally I like his mental makeup. He can pitch in New York. He can pitch in Yankee Stadium. Those are all things you don't know what other guys can do when you're bringing someone else in. You do know what he can do as a Yankee, and you do know what he can do in New York. So with that, there is a little bit more of an assurance in my mind, as just from my viewpoint of looking at this. In my mind, there's more of assurance of keeping him because he can handle it, whereas other guys implode. I thought Sonny Gray was like going to be amazing as the Yankee. How'd that turn out?
Yeah, I think that's fair, right? And now let's move on though away from the free agents, and let's move into Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman, right? Those are two big question marks for the Yankees. Um, what's gonna happen with them? I'll let you talk on this, John, first. Um, do you want Boone and Cashman to stay? Are you okay if the Yankees would go a different direction with the GM and manager spot? Um, if they do stay, what would you like to see? Would you like Cashman to be a little bit more aggressive? Or maybe your shift is focused a little bit, or Boone, or same thing for Aaron Boone, where he can be more aggressive with the team, or maybe manage just a little bit differently. What are your thoughts on those two?
Well, I mean, I don't like Cashman. I've had it. He's has the best resources on all of baseball, and really has only one World Series to show for it. Early '90s were not his creation as Gene Michael. He has not won the way he should win with what he has behind him. If you have the most money, most resources, the ability to not only invest money in your payroll, but throughout your system and invest in your farm system, in your scouting, in your player development. And he has all these resources and he doesn't develop players well. He screws up a lot of deals. Like I was saying here, you have guys that can play in New York. Aaron Judge, can play in New York. Jameson Tyone, can play in New York. Very good chance he doesn't keep either of those guys and brings in guys that can't play in New York. He's just made so many blunders over the years. I think he's very stubborn. He sticks with people way longer than he should. Stuck with Gary Sanchez way longer than he should. And then because he needed to get something in return for Gary Sanchez, he made a horrible trade. Instead of just cutting it loose. He hangs on to prospects for too long. There's a time when the Pirates were willing to trade Garrett Cole to the Yankees for Clint Frazier and Miguel Andujar. Like the Yankees were like, oh, that's too much trade. So instead, Cole goes to the Astros in 2019, and the Yankees end up cutting bait with both of those guys and never got anything in return for them anyway. So Cashman's made so many mistakes over the years. He doesn't develop players. And his analytics, I understand. Look, the Astros are very, very analytical team, probably one of the most analytical teams in baseball, just won the World Series. So I don't want to say analytics doesn't work at all,
but they know how to use them. They know how to use them.
You know how to use them, and Brian Cashman hasn't done that. Like as analytical as you are, your analytics fail in the playoffs every time, and he tries to pass it off like, well, the playoffs are a crapshoot. But if the Astros are going to six straight ALCS. I mean, that's not a crapshoot, dude. They're doing something right, and you're doing something wrong. And during this whole time of Cashman's reign, where he's really only won one World Series, the Red Sox have won 4. So, he doesn't deserve to be the general manager of the Yankees anymore. And I'm sure somebody else would scoop him up really quick for their team. But I think the Yankees, it's time to start looking and moving in a new direction. That being said, I know Brian Cashman is very close with the Steinbrenner family, and I don't think they're moving on from him at all. So
that's probably a saving grace.
Yeah, exactly. So it is what it is. And if he wants, if he's going to stay, he gave Aaron Boone his, 5-year deal. So Aaron Boone will be back as a manager. I don't really look at Aaron Boone as a great manager. I don't really think he's a bad manager either, because I don't think he has as much say as you think as, managers of the past have had. So, I mean, if Aaron Boone stays, cool, I'm fine with it. Because he does seem to at least do well with the players on a personal level.
He's a player's manager, which is, I think that's what you need now, right? I think that's what you need.
Yeah, with today's athlete, that's what you need. So if he stays, great. If he goes, oh well, I just thought he's middle management, and from someone who works in corporate America, I know what middle management is, and it can be easily replaced, and
Yeah.
things will just keep moving. So I think the big problem in all of this is Brian Cashman, but like I said, I think he'll be back, despite the fact that his track record shows he shouldn't be back.
Yeah. I feel like Boone and Alex Cora are a little bit similar. Besides the fact that Alex Cora has won a World Series as a manager, right?
Yeah.
Like they're both player managers. Like they're not the great. Like they're not going to be these massive tacticians and on the field stuff and whatever. But like they are legitimately player managers. The players who play for them mostly love them, if not all. Um, and I feel like that's how you kind of have to be now because now when you're making a decision as a manager, you have so much information that you can pull from where it's just kind of, okay, I know this information. Do I think this decision makes sense? Obviously, there's a little bit of a gut feeling kind of that you might want to roll with, but most of your decisions are remade, I would say, from analytics or, you know, just certain things like it feels like most decisions it's not like a manager having to truly go on what he thinks. I feel like you have to be a player's manager now. You have to be a guy that the players like. And for both Cora and Boone, there are sections of each fan base of the Red Sox fan base that hate Cora. There's sections of the Yankees fan base that hate Boone. But there's also the section of both fan bases that like both of them, right? Um, so it's just that it's that thing of I feel like you have to be a player's manager now. Like obviously, could you get a better manager than Boone? Maybe one that's on another team, but I don't know if there's any managers just sitting out there that you could get that would be better than Boone. Maybe.
I got one. I got one. Joe Girardi. I mean, I love Girardi. I thought he was a really good manager for the Yankees. And another
I
reason
wouldn't say
I don't
that's
like
realistic, though. I wouldn't say that's
Oh no,
realistic.
it's not realistic at all.
No,
It's not going to happen. There's
yeah,
no way the Yankees ever bring him back because as long as Brian Cashman's the general manager, Joe Girardi doesn't come back. But I do think if Joe Girardi's the manager of the Yankees from 2018 on, I think the Yankees won one of these World Series. Maybe even this year. So I don't know. As we are talking about, I hadn't really thought about that, and that thought just popped in
no,
my mind.
yeah, but what I'm saying though, realistically, you're not going to just find someone though that you can just
No,
plug
no.
in and be a better man. And by better manager, like I mean, like you can clearly tell it's a better manager. Like you're not gonna find someone there. So sticking with Boone's, but yeah, Cashman maybe can move on from, you know, and maybe promote people from the system. Maybe go get someone from, one of these teams that has proven that can go. Maybe go take someone from the Astros, or go take someone from the Dodgers, or do what everyone does. Go take someone from the Rays, like,
Yeah.
like, maybe something like that, right? But like I feel like Cashman's more replaceable than Boone. But last thing though, I do want to touch on before we wrap this thing up: positional needs for the Yankees. Obviously every team needs bullpen, right? So we're not going to get into that. Every team needs bullpen nowadays. Starting pitcher, you're losing Tyone, but I wouldn't say that's as big of a need. However, right field is a massive need. You have an Aaron Judge size hole in right field. Um, and then the other needs are based on how you see the team, I would say, right? So, what are your thoughts, John? What needs do the Yankees have?
Oh God. Um, I'm fine if the Yankees kind of clean house, which I don't see how they can because they have some really bad contracts that aren't going to be movable, like Donaldson and Hicks. The needs, shoot. I mean, I'm really right now. I'm open to anything in the right deal, like you mentioned Pablo Lopez earlier. In the right deal, I'm willing to move Gleyber Torres. He broke my heart a couple times during his career with the Yankees. I'm okay keeping Gleyber Torres. I'm okay trading Gleyber Torres. I'm okay keeping Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. I'm okay trading Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. I'm okay re-signing Andrew Benintendi. I'm okay if they don't re-sign Andrew Benintendi. There's a lot of ways this team can go. There's clearly problems. They aren't good enough to beat the Astros. So you need to either figure out a way to keep it as is and still improve, or you need to start shaking things up. So there's a lot of positional needs out there. Like you said, like I could just see there's a lot of different ways this thing can go. And
Yeah,
I think once the first chip kind of falls, maybe the first chip or two kind of falls, then we'll kind of have a better idea of what the Yankees might be doing. But as of right now, and just the way Cashman operates, like anything could happen. And
yeah,
like I'm just not good at over the years, I've just driven myself crazy speculating, and a lot of times I get it wrong. So I mean,
yeah,
let's just see what this crazed madman does to ruin the team again. I
yeah.
haven't
Well,
gotten over
yeah. Well,
I'm
when I
still
talk,
kind of
when I
depressed.
put on like my GM hat, I'm putting on like my hypothetical GM hat, right? And I always like any player should be available if if the right price is met, right? Like I'll say like if if you know I don't know who's like I don't know Ronald Acuna Jr. The Braves are good. Should they trade Ronald Acuna Jr.? No. But if the deal is right and makes sense, and you're getting and you think the deal would make sense for you, then do it. Don't do it. Do it right. And I like obviously it would take a lot to get to trade. You'd have to get a lot back to trade him. But if you get that a lot back and maybe a little bit extra, you might be willing to do it. Obviously, and I think that's kind of how I see it. If the Red Sox, if they're gonna trade Rafael Devers and the price is right, obviously right now I wouldn't trade Devers, but like if someone like even for what his value is, I need like a heck of a lot more for that. But it's like what I say for the Yankees. Like the Yankees wanted to trade Garrett Cole and the price was right, they could do it, right? And I'm not saying the Yankees aren't going to trade. They're not going to trade Garrett Cole, right? They're not
Right.
going to. But when you start looking at guys like a Gleyber Torres, for example, or Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, or so guys like maybe even a DJ LeMahieu if Rizzo comes back. Just certain guys that if the price is right, maybe they get moved. Josh Donaldson's one of those guys. Him only having 1 year in his contract, maybe the Yankees pay some of that contract so another team takes him on. There's that, and it's that thing of if it's the right price, I think you could see those guys getting moved. Those Gleyber Torres, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, Josh Donaldson, maybe even a Kyle Higashioka, maybe who knows. But like I think you could potentially see guys like that getting moved. Um, yeah, and like and it's similar for free agents, right? I'd say it's similar thing for free agents, right? If Rizzo was willing to come back at a reasonable price, do it. But if Rizzo's going out and asking you to give him 25 million over the next 2 years, you might be a little hesitant to do that deal. Um, and like same thing, if Aaron Judge is asking for $100 billion over the next 5 years, like you're not gonna do it. But if he's asking for something reasonable, you're going to give him that contract. And I think that's kind of where you see the needs part falling in is like, okay, if Aaron Judge comes back, right field set, center field set, left field's probably set with Cabrera, although he could move into the infield. But where he settles in depends on some of where the other chips fall. If guys like a Gleyber Torres get traded, if Rizzo comes in, does that make a DJ LeMahieu expendable? Or does that make a guy like a Gleyber Torres expendable? Or there's a lot of different options, right? And that's what I think the Yankees got to figure out. They got to pick a lane and go with it. Whether that means trading away some guys and giving some of the younger guys a shot, like Peraza, who we saw in the playoffs, and Oswaldo Cabrera. Maybe bring Cabrera back into the infield. Maybe that's something they look at. Um, having a little bit of a mix of the young and old guys. By old guys, don't mean like old, but you get what I mean.
I know what you mean, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, dude.
I've thought this before because it makes sense. I don't know the Padres system well enough to really propose the trade, but Giancarlo Stanton has a full no trade clause. However, that being said, he mashes in San Diego. Like his average in that park is ridiculous. Like he's home run, like he's hit so many home runs in that stadium. It's ridiculous. He clearly loves San Diego. San Diego, the Padres, they're trying to win now. Like they have an older owner, they've never won a World Series, and they've gone all in. They went all in trying to trade it went by trading for Juan Soto. Uh, is there a path for Stanton to end up on the Padres. Now, I like Stanton. I think he hits pretty well in the playoffs. He's done. I don't hate Stanton. I don't boo him the way other fans do that. But that being said, he is kind of clogs up that DH spot that could be used in different ways. Is there a way or a path that if the Stanton okays it, that he ends up on the Padres? Do you see any way that the Padres can make some kind of offer that makes sense for the Yankees?
How much of a contract do you want the Yankees to eat? That's the question.
Nah, I don't care.
Because that's what it realistically comes down to, right? Stanton, how many years does he have? He has what? I'm trying to do math in my head on 32, 30, 64. Actually, let me just pull out my calculator on my phone, so I can actually do the legitimate math. So
Stanton is only on the hook for $25 million a year, though. Whatever his contract is, that the Marlins had to kick in for that. So he is $25 million a year is what he would be owed, which isn't really even a bad deal.
That is true. So the Yankees have $25 million a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hold on. Oh my God, what the heck is? So
5 more years.
This contract wording is the Marlins retain $10 million each in 26, 27, and 28. So that means the Yankees have $15 million there, 19, and oh my gosh, I'm trying to do math in my head.
Just assume I know the AAV for Stanton's contract based off what the Yankees owe is $25 million a year.
Yeah.
It just makes sense to work off of that number.
Yeah.
He's got 5 years left and then a 6th at a team option.
Oh, okay. So Yankees are gonna have to eat like almost all of that contract to trade him.
If I wouldn't do that, then I wouldn't trade him. I would actually, if he's open to being traded to the Padres, like I'm pitching
to get anything back is what I'm saying. Like to just get anything back, the Yankees are gonna have to eat like almost all that contract.
I don't think. See, I would think I would sell that, especially if the owner's involved who wants to win. You'd sell that as like, look, here's a guy that's going to crush in your ballpark.
They have better options. I would say there's still better options though. Not on that contract that's that long. Like if Stanton's contract was 2 years, maybe. But with that contract being another 6 years, 5 years plus the club option, which would probably get declined at that point.
But you're not appealing to a general manager. You're appealing to an old owner that wants to win. A guy that might not be here when that contract ends.
What I'm saying is though that I think that owner would have better options that he could target.
You never know.
I mean, Shohei's a free agent in a year. Hey, do the Padres want to pay money for Aaron Judge and move Soto back to left field?
Yeah.
Or have Soto DH or Judge Soto DH. I don't know. But it's not. I think Stanton's kind of stuck, honestly. It's just too big of a contract, and a lot of these big contracts end up being underwater. Like the Mookie Betts contract is going to be underwater late. And I'm not saying it's going to be a bad contract necessarily, but in terms of trade value, it's going to be underwater because, like the 30-something million a year Mookie's getting, he's not going to play at that value for the next 10 years, where so it's like Stanton right now, especially as a DH, isn't matching the amount of money he's making, even for the Yankees. Even that $25 million for the Yankees is probably not matching that. So it's one of those things where a team's gonna have the Yankees would have to pay some of that money, and it's a long deal too, which it's long, so normally means that it's only going to get more underwater as you go. So yeah, it's a rough situation. But I do want to wrap this up so we don't go on too long. So I'm gonna leave this off with one last thing. Wrap this up. Yankees sign Aaron Judge. What is the contract?
It's probably going to cost them $40 million a year, and I'm guessing it's something like 8 years with a 9th year vesting option, not even a team option, maybe like an at-bat incentive to get that 9th year. So if that's how it happens, I think they're paying up $40 million a year to make it happen.
All right. It's a great place to end it off then. Make sure to check out all the links in the description, the Bleach Brawls website, podcast, Instagram, and Twitter, plus all the crew's Twitters. They'll all be down there. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell to get notified whenever we post. Leave a comment. Let us know your thoughts. On the Yankees offseason, we'll have a Red Sox video coming up tomorrow on Thursday, the 10th, I think that is. Yep, on the 10th. So you want to see the Red Sox version of this, get ready for that. That'll be coming up. I have a lot of Red Sox Yankees content throughout the offseason. We'll get deeper into topics on both teams here on Bleacher Brawls, and we'll cover obviously the big free agent signings across the MLB, and we might even get into some other stuff too throughout the offseason. It's gonna be a fun one though. Thanks for tuning in to Bleacher Brawls. For John, I'm Derek. This is the Yankees offseason preview, and we'll see you next time.